Dan Bidondi with Tony Antonello of WeAreChange.org, great patriotic organization. And it's nice, it's a pleasure to meet you, sir, at the Liberty Love Fest here in Worcester, Massachusetts for Ron Paul. And what are you doing here today?
I was invited out here to come give a speech and talk about what I've been up to, what I'm doing. Recently, I had my first dabble in politics. I ran as a delegate for Ron Paul, and I ended up winning, actually knocking out two people who won 12 terms consecutively with pretty much no money. I had to raise, my own money, and it was completely grassroots, homemade signs, utilizing anything and everything I could just to get the message out there, and calling radio stations. And by this point, in my area, I was already known as a Ron Paul guy, and not that I would try to distance myself from Ron Paul, but a lot of people tried to distance themselves from Ron Paul, thinking they would have a better chance of getting elected, but I didn't. I went full steam ahead, and I said, let the chips fall where they may, and I ended up being the only one who won as a delegate. But I came here to speak. It's a great event, and I just want to motivate people to realize and tell them the secret. The secret is you have to be the person that does something. You cannot wait for instructions. You cannot wait for directions. You have to be the person to get up, grab a camera, call a radio station, do something. You can't wait. You can't, talk and just wait for things to have meetings. Do something. Like I said in my speech in there. People, when I posted my Bill Clinton video, people said, "Why did you go alone?" I didn't want to go alone. I tried getting people to go, but I couldn't. And I wasn't about to pass up that opportunity of him being in my area because I couldn't get ready to go. So I went by myself. I almost got beat up, by a bunch of union thugs. I got kicked in the leg, but that's what it is. It's all about doing the work and getting active, And I thank you for what you do. But yeah.
And I'm a fellow We Are Change member myself, and reporting for Hi, Dan Bidondi, standing here with Ron Villarreal. Is that your correct name?
That's correct.
Awesome. And Ron Villarreal wants to ride across the U.S.
From New Hampshire to Georgia, the original 13 colonies, 1,000 miles.
Amazing. And you got to ride this on horseback?
On horseback.
Awesome. Just like our founding fathers did.
Exactly, that's the point.
And now, is this a fundraiser for something, or?
We're going to be raising money for veterans charities along the way.
Veterans charities?
I've spent 3 months in a veterans hospital a few years ago, recovering in a spinal cord injury unit. I spent 3 months with a lot of guys coming back from the wars overseas. And if you can imagine having a disabled vet in your home for 3 months, getting to know them about their families, and their stories, and how they sacrifice so much for this country and what they've done, you may be tempted to ride a horse 1,000 miles also for their benefit. I made a promise back then while I was in the hospital that I would find a way to help these men. Now I've already ridden over 4,000 miles on horseback. I've ridden from Boston to Washington, D.C. and up to the United Nations in New York. I've ridden from Washington, D.C. to California, across America on horseback.
Amazing. Amazing. God bless you, sir, and good luck with your journey.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And Representative Mr. Dan Gordon. And Mr. Dan Gordon, we're live here at the Liberty Fest. And you're here to support Ron Paul, is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely correct. I see Ron Paul as being the only one that's constitutionally and liberty-minded that can steer the country back to the precipice that previous administrations have brought us to.
Right, awesome. And Mr. Dan Gordon is the first state representative in the entire country to stand up against the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012. And do you want to describe what's going on in progress right now?
Well, essentially, where we are right now in the state of Rhode Island, Dan, is we have 43 co-sponsors on the bill, which is quite funny considering that the makeup of the House, we have 65 Democrats and like 10 that are on our label. So I made to reach across the aisle and show that no matter your political affiliation, there's a one of us who's our voices to speak. We're all in danger.
Exactly. The NDA 2012 affects and
Love Fest.
Liberty Love Fest, yeah. And what do you love about this festival?
This festival is folks from Main Street coming together, what we believe in, what our veterans have fought for. This is a grassroots effort to pay respect to our history. I'm focused on where do we go from here with a refinance plan for Main Street and bring back a treasury WPA to do energy audits on houses and bring people so they can reset their lives to today's rates and economy. But having this exposure here on 990 WBOB and your show is going to get Main Street to have a voice in Washington. And where do we go from here? All these people have a voice from Main Street in Washington. And that's what we need now.
Exactly. And you're running against a current Rhode Senator, Mr. Sheldon Whitehouse, is that correct?
Yeah, that incumbent has had 6 years to understand the mortgage fraud. He's had 6 years to do something about it. And, I need to be in that position where there's subpoena power to go after the fraud on Wall Street, and where there's no voice at the table for Main Street. I want these Liberty folks to have that seat in Washington.
And if you want to define what you refer to as Main Street, it's the people, is that correct?
This is the people, the 1%. It's what Occupy represents. It's about what all the pushback that this is, the non-personhood corporations. This is the pushback from the memorial in Woonsocket, where these people entrusted a community to preserve their memorial. The public trust of elected officials to preserve the community, past, present, and future. And that's where we are today. And that's where we need to go from here.
And one last question. I know a lot of politicians duck and dodge this question all the time, except for people like Ron Paul. But what is your stance on National Defense Authorization Act of 2012? Is it constitutional or unconstitutional?
It's unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional. This is not about attacking the American people. We are the people. We are the silent seat at the table. We are the taxpayer. In every government meeting, we're paying the bill. So why are they positioning themselves to attack us? Why are we the bad people? We're the ones who fought for this country. We're the people that need to live in this country. And why are we getting this result out of Washington? And this is what we need to bring. This is where we need to go from here and say, we need all of this support to even make a dent in the corporate fraud.
Exactly. And this is Todd Giroux, candidate for 2012 U.S. Senate from Rhode Island, and it's ToddGiroux2012.com.
It's GirouxSenate.com. Very clear. GirouxSenate.com gets me to my website.
Dan Bidondi standing here with Jordan Page. He's one of the solo artists at the Liberty Fest here in Worcester, Massachusetts for Ron Paul. And Mr. Page, how you doing?
I'm well, how are you, Dan?
Oh, awesome. And this is a great day for Liberty. I mean, we got a lot of bands playing, a lot of entertainment. We got a lot of people like the Oath Keepers here. We got a lot of Liberty groups here as well. And for Ron Paul, I mean, like, you guys are here playing for Ron Paul to raise money for Ron Paul. What's your stance on, what's your beliefs on Liberty and raising money going on?
My stance on liberty. Well, I think that the human being needs to be free to achieve its full potential. And we, as a society, have grown up, at least from my experiences, I grew up in a system that never taught me about what my rights were, what my inheritance was. And when I figured it out, I got pissed off. And I feel very compelled to speak to the masses through music. It's a non-threatening medium but its approach is non-threatening, but it's a major threat because it has the ability to spread like wildfire.
Oh yeah, but take liberties away by the day. And you want to describe about your band? You got your own band, obviously. You're a solo artist. And what kind of music you play? You play music hype up with Liberty Music Flag?
I do. Well, I've been moving for Ron Paul about 12 times, and I do Liberty concerts all over the country. It's a mix of hard rock, acoustic rock. I do anything from it influences anywhere from like Metallica to John Denver. So, you know, like folk music or hard rock music or anywhere, all points in between.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Page. We look forward to seeing you. Hi, again, we're going to report again with Tatiana Moroz. She's a female vocalist. And Tatiana, how are you doing today?
I'm very well. I'm really excited to be here. My name's Tatiana Moroz. I'm a singer-songwriter based out of New Jersey, but I did go to school up in Boston to Berkeley. And yeah, I'm just really psyched to be here today in Worcester.
Awesome. And you're coming here to support Ron Paul, is that correct?
I'm a big Ron Paul supporter. If you go to my website, you see me talking about Ron Paul basically every day. I think that his platform of peace and, of course, ending the Fed, his economic policy, and in general, his libertarian views really resonate with me, and I think he's the only choice for president in 2012. In 2008, for that matter.
And what's your website?
TatianaMoroz.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tatiana.
Thanks very much for having me.
Yep.
Great.
This is
See you inside, everybody.